Raider Nation, thank you for joining us on the Only Nation podcast, brought to you by the Raider Ramble. My name is Heidi, but you may know me as Kevlar Prom Dress or even Raider Ladybug. I'm here with Raider Homer and T3 Raider Facts, and we're ready to talk some Raiders football together.
Always ready to talk Raider football, especially with a Raider player.
Hey, as we get closer to the draft, we want to welcome in a special guest this week, so let's get to it.
Today on the show, we'll take a look at what the Raiders have done over the past couple weeks as we gear up for the upcoming draft. And then we will welcome in Raiders long snapper and special teams ace, Trent Sieg.
All right, Raider Nation, this is the Only Nation podcast, and we want to hear from the Only Nation. So give us a call at 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. You can leave us a voicemail and or send us a text message.
Here's the latest Raider news.
At the end of March, the NFL announced that it would be moving to a 17-game schedule beginning in 2021. The approved 17-game regular season schedule will include a shortened 3-game preseason slate and the addition of one interconference game. The extra game will feature teams from opposing conferences that finished within the same place within their division. This year, the AFC teams will get the extra home game. That means the Las Vegas Raiders will be hosting the Chicago Bears in 2021.
Here we go again. No Trent Brown this time to block out the sun that is Khalil Mack. We'll see how that goes. Now, the 17th game, I like that. A lot of debate on whether preseason's even worthy of playing. So I think it's very good that the NFL is moving in this direction and making one of those games count. A lot of times you need that extra game to get into the playoffs. So this could be good. And hopefully they continue to carry the 8 teams in the playoff also. I think that would be tremendous. This is a good thing for the Raiders. Of course, we've been struggling to win over the last 2 decades. This could definitely be something that will help us get back into the playoffs on a regular basis.
And I'm curious to see how this affects the potential expansion of the rosters for each NFL team, especially the Raiders. And I'm going to make a prediction right now that within the next 5 years, the NFL will add an 18th game to the regular season.
Well, they have talked about that in the past, so I can definitely see the NFL going that way.
I'm just glad that the Raiders won't go 8-8 this year.
But they could go 8-1.
They could.
But, this sets the standard now. The standard was 10-6 if we wanted to make the playoffs in the AFC West. Now we got to be 11-6. We've got to win 11 games to get in there. And hopefully that one extra game will be that game that gets us in.
All right, congratulations to Colton Miller, one of the first members of the 2018 draft class to receive a contract extension, who also just happens to be John Gruden's first draft pick since coming back to the Silver and Black in 2018. The reported $42.6 million guaranteed deal now locks down the left tackle through the 2025 season.
Yeah, this was a great move. And, of course, people have already talked about the fact that the salary cap is being impacted a little bit more than it was initially. But he is a lockdown left tackle. Now he's in through 2025, and this is going to free up and loosen up so that the Raiders can start signing some other players as well. So I really like the move. I like the way Colton Miller has progressed in his time with the Raiders, and I just like what's being put together now on this offensive line.
This comes as no surprise. We talked about them re-signing Colton Miller in previous episodes. While it was sad to see Rodney Hudson and Gabe Jackson going, this is why they departed. This is part of the reason why they departed, because we had to clear room to sign Colton Miller. Left tackle is the guy that protects the blind side of the quarterback, so he's extremely important. And I remember a lot of people knocking this draft pick a while back. It did take him some time to develop into the player that he is today, but I knew the kid was going to be good when he ran down, I think it was that Chief linebacker that intercepted the pass and almost took it into the end zone, and Colton Miller came running from the other end of the field halfway across the field and made the tackle. And then I believe we stopped him at the 1 yard line. So the kid's athletic. He wants to be a Raider. He's doesn't make any noise, just quietly does his job.
I knew the kid was going to be good when he, in his very first game, basically silenced the Broncos. And they had a very impressive pass rush at the time. Then, of course, he got hurt, and the rest of his rookie year was not as stellar as his years are now. But I knew he was going to be good.
Even so, his rookie year was pretty steady. I mean, he didn't blow the doors off anybody, but he had a pretty steady first year, despite injury.
Yeah, I think that injury, though, spoke highly of him. You know, he's one of those type of players that was going to play with a bad knee. You know, we had an issue with Trent Brown last year, making all that money and not being as dedicated to the team because of a calf. If Colton Miller can play with a bad knee, Trent Brown should have been able to play. Again, this is what I'm talking about. This is the type of character players they're bringing in. Even Richie Incognito came in and cleaned it up. So this is a good thing. And I can't wait to see those two on the left side maul people again.
Homer, just for the record, we had several issues with Trent Brown last year.
Yeah.
True.
Anyways, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's better that we spent the money on Colton Miller.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm very happy that we're spending it on Colton Miller instead of him this year.
Absolutely.
The Raiders will be without cornerback Nevin Lawson for the first 2 games of the 2021 season again. Lawson has received a 2-game suspension from the NFL for violating the league's policy on performance-enhancing substances. In 2019, Lawson missed the first 4 games of the season for PEDs, and he sat out the first game of the 2020 season for using his helmet as a weapon in the final game of the 2019 season against Denver. The final 8 seconds of that game.
Let's hope he's got his head on right after the suspension. You know, I like the fact, though, that Gruden's not quick to just dump these guys. You know, he knows about that Raider history. He's been trying to teach these guys about that Raider history. So part of Raider history is being patient with some of these players. But hopefully, you know, he proves his worth to this team this year and plays extremely well and honors that contract.
I'm just going to make a comment and let it go. I hope we draft a cornerback in the draft and let Lawson go early.
Hear, hear.
Or that.
The very first Raiders-themed restaurant and bar is now open on the Vegas Strip. The new Raiders Tavern and Grill, located inside the M Resort Spa Casino, pays tributes to the Raiders past and present. It features over 3,400 square feet of dining space, 2 bars, and more than 45 high-definition TV screens, and is expected to operate nearly around the clock within the team headquarters official resort. Charles Woodson's wines will also be featured there.
Now, I've talked to a couple of other people who do podcasts who made it to that soft opening of the Raiders Tavern and Grill. And let me tell you something. When I make my next trip out to Vegas, that's where I'm going to be. I am looking forward to it. I am just excited about this and just the fact that the Raiders have a place, a home. And this is going to be a place where fans from all over can gather, regardless of whether they can get a ticket to the game or not. So I'm excited about this.
As am I. And, of course, me and the Raider Homer channel crew, we're looking to broadcast there May 15th. So be on the lookout for that, Raider Nation. This is exciting, though. The Raiders have been getting their own stadium, their own restaurant, their own radio station. We, as an organization, are finally starting to get the things that we need, I believe, to get the word out to the fan base, draw in more fans, draw in more players. You know, so this is definitely something exciting to see.
This will be a new pilgrimage like it was to Ricky's.
Yeah, I can see that
Absolutely.
happening.
On Friday, the Raiders announced that they had re-signed safety Carl Joseph. Originally drafted in the first round by the Raiders in 2016, he returns to the Raiders after completing a 1-year stint with the Cleveland Browns, who picked him up last year through free agency. A fan favorite, KJ now enters his 6th season in the NFL. Having appeared in 63 games with 49 starts, he is credited with 294 tackles, 213 of them solo. He has recorded 3 sacks, 5 interceptions, 19 passes defensed, 1 forced fumble, and 5 fumble recoveries.
You know, I'm happy to see Carl Joseph come back, mostly because he said he never wanted to leave. There's a lot of hoopla going on right now that these players don't want to play for the Raiders, but that's just not true. And Carl Joseph is one of those examples that proves that. But, you know, he was the starter over Eric Harris, right? So I'm happy to see a true starter come back. The kid can hit. Yeah, he's a little undersized, but he was at strong safety, and we have Abram there now. So I'm curious to see what Bradley can do with the Carl Joseph, a quick, fast, free safety that can hit hard. This could be a very good signing, and it definitely changed the draft. Now you're really looking at offensive tackle, I think, at number 17th overall.
I was not surprised that they didn't pick him back up and re-sign him last year. But I am glad that he was able to jump on with another team and happy to return to the Raiders. So we get him at a reduced rate, but hopefully we'll get the best of all he has to offer. Now, he's going to have one thing this year that he did not have before when he was with the Raiders in Oakland, and that is Ron Miles. And, of course, that's under Gus Bradley. So let's see how they can put that whole defense back together.
Yeah, I don't think Paul Guenther really used him to his best usage. I think under a different coaching staff that it might be a very different Carl Joseph that we'll see. But I am very happy to have him back.
I think suffice it to say that Paul Guenther used a lot of players, and we'll just leave it at that.
That's safe.
Misused players.
Okay, that's safer. Now we would like to welcome Trent Sieg to the Only Nation podcast. Trent played his college ball at Colorado State and then was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Baltimore Ravens in 2018, but was released before the start of the season. Sieg was then signed by the Oakland Raiders on September 12, 2018, to replace injured long snapper Andrew DePaula. He then appeared in all 16 games for the Raiders in 2018. He re-signed with the team in March of last year after the move to Las Vegas, and just signed a new 3-year extension with the Raiders several weeks ago. We are so happy to have him here on our program today. Welcome, Trent.
Hey, Trent, thanks so much for coming on.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you. And if everyone noticed, I referred to him as Trent Sieg, and that was news to me, that it is not pronounced Trent Sieg. Is that correct?
Yes, it's Sig. Honestly, I get the mispronunciation enough that it's just more annoying to correct people, so I just kind of let it go. But Sig is the actual pronunciation. So,
and we were talking earlier, Sig is in big. This is a big
right.
interview for us. We thank you for coming on.
Yes, it is.
All right, I'll just start off with the questions. A few weeks ago, we interviewed former Raiders long snapper and Pro Bowler John Kondo, and he told us about the closeness between himself and the other members of the kicking battery. Can you share with us a little bit of the relationship between yourself, punter A.J. Cole, and kicker Daniel Carlson?
Yeah, and I just want to start off by saying that Condos did such a great job of leaving a legacy here and leaving some big shoes to fill, honestly. But yeah, I've met up with him, and he's just an awesome guy to be around. But as far as my relationship with the other specialists, being AJ and Daniel, really Daniel and I came in together as rookies. We both had gotten cut from our previous team. We came in, had to just tread water, essentially, our rookie year, coming in and just trying to learn to be in a new city, be with a new team, get the new dynamic of everything. And that was just something that kind of, I feel brought us together pretty closely. And then AJ came in the year after that, and he being a rookie and us just being second year guys, we're all in a very similar point in our lives. And now we're kind of getting to the point where we know what to expect in the NFL a little bit more, but we were only 1 year removed. So we were able to help out AJ and just kind of talk with him about mentality and just how to approach the season. AJ, I actually lived with my second year and his rookie year. He lived with my wife and I there in the Bay. So we got pretty close, just kind of seeing each other every day at the facility, and then going home and seeing each other there too. But yeah, I think we have a great battery between the three of us. I mean, AJ is really starting to come into his own. Daniel, he's been a great kicker, and he's continuing to be a great kicker. And I'm just doing what I can to stay out of their way.
Well, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were talking about big shoes to fill following John Kondo, but everybody that plays special teams for the Raiders has big shoes to fill. The team has a long history of great special teamers. So, I'm looking forward to, seeing what you can continue to do for the team, because we talked to John Kondo about when he got injured, Lee Smith had to try to help with the snaps. Long snapper is very important. It's crucial.
Right.
Just as important as, Rodney Hudson is to the offensive line, you are important to special teams, punting team. So, it's awesome to have you on, and congratulations on your contract extension.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm excited to have a little bit of continuity moving forward. So it's been great being here with the Raiders and just becoming a part of this organization.
All right, from a distance, what is your view on the offensive line coach, Tom Cable, and how he's been able to put together the offensive line?
So just from what I see over there on field 3, I think Coach Cable does a great job of just like getting that O-line to work together cohesively. Like, I remember my rookie year, there were injuries all over the O-line and like just linemen in and out just because so many guys were hurt, and just being able to piece together a game plan and get them all to work together is just it's not easy when you have guys that you've been around forever. But like my rookie year, which was Gruden's staff's first year in Oakland too, is just kind of cool to see how well they did putting everything together. And then kind of same thing with last year, O-line really started to, or I guess 2 years ago, the O-line really started kind of come into their own and start to dominate the games. And that just continued last year. And I think Cable's done a great job of just getting the whole O-line together and really becoming a strong point of the team.
Now, what kind of interaction do you have with them being on special teams? Any at all, or just is it all observation?
Yeah, so I mean, I interact with them in the locker room, like they're all my teammates and everything. But as far as on the field, I'm out there on field goal with the O-line is typically out there with me. They just kind of sub out the center and move the O-line guys around for a couple different spots for protection purposes. But so I go out there and get in the trenches with the big guys a few times a game, and they protect me a little bit because they're a little bigger than me. So, but yeah, they're all great dudes to be around.
Speaking of the O-line, there have already been a lot of changes so far this offseason. Have you seen anyone starting to emerge as the new leader of that group now that Rodney Hudson is gone?
Yeah, so, I mean, we're going to miss Rodney. He was a great presence in the locker room. But really there hasn't been a ton of interaction with being in the offseason and everything. But I know, like, Colton just signed a big contract showing that the team's really confident in him taking it upon himself. And I think, personally, I think Richie is a huge just attitude guy for the line. And he, even when Rodney was here, like, it just – there was a different amount of nastiness that the line had when Richie was out there. And so I think between Colton and Richie, those guys are probably going to be the two guys that kind of lead the line. And Colton's a little bit more soft-spoken than Richie, but he leads by example a lot too.
Yeah, Colton is turned into a great left tackle. I'm glad they extended him as well. I love that John Gruden is building from the trenches out. You know, you talked about them big nasties protecting you. I mean, you got to have big guys because there are some great athletes on this line. You know, and the big guys need to be athletic as well. You know, so you know it's nice to see Colton Miller re-signed, and then watch John Gruden really focus on the trenches. So, you know, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's something to be said too with the fact that Gruden's very first pick coming back to the Raiders was an offensive lineman, and now he's already been had his contract extended. So I think that speaks highly not only of his talent, Colton Miller's, but also Gruden's belief in building that line, building the team from the lines going out.
You know, a lot of people talk about us re-signing our players. What does that mean to players on the roster when we re-sign our guys and show that, you know, we really want our guys to stay and we're willing to pay? What does that kind of do for the morale of the locker room?
So as far as that goes, I think it's, like you said, I think it's kind of a big boost to morale. And I think that this team does a great job of building some camaraderie among us as players. Like Coach Gruden's really emphasized that here in the last couple of years. And like, we're not just here to play football. Like, we're here to win games, and we're here to do it together. And when we see our guys come back, like obviously like free agents leave, new guys come in, and we're going to be welcoming of them. But it's just great to have some continuity. And I think that just builds trust amongst players. and what we have going forward, where we trust the guys that we've been around more, and we know we can trust the coaching staff and Coach Gruden to take care of us when we do what we need to do.
Now, last year, long snapper Liam McCullough was also brought in, and he is back on the team now. What has it been like working with him, and what are your thoughts on both him and competition for your role as long snapper?
Yeah, so Liam, I actually know going back to college. We went to a couple long snapping camps together, and we got to know each other a little bit there. I worked a little bit with him last offseason. I haven't seen him yet this offseason, just getting everything figured out as far as what's going on for OTAs and everything. But yeah, Liam, I think he's going to be a good snapper. I embrace competition. I think competition breeds greatness. And honestly, anything I can bring to Liam to help him improve his game is something I want to do, because when I was coming up as a rookie, I learned behind Morgan Cox out in Baltimore. And then when I came over here, Andrew DePola really took me under his wing. And I really appreciated the way those two guys approached our relationship, where it's like, okay, well, may the best man win, because, I mean, that's what this game's all about. And they weren't just like, oh, this rookie, like, he's here to take my job. But it's just something where he can drive me to get better and I can drive him to get better. So it'll be good to actually hopefully work with him in a full training camp this year. Yeah,
I was watching some of your videos on YouTube, and you did that long snapping training video, man. The one where you had to snap and then run the little circuit and then roll over and tackle the dummy. Yeah, man, that was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, long snappers, like I said earlier, are very important, and it's cool to see y'all doing y'all's drills in your video like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That was actually one of the camps that I met Liam at. Coach Sonner, he's kind of the guy where college players around the country and some like pro free agents and whatnot come and work together and kind of just try to push each other, like I was saying.
And we talked with John and pointed out the fact that a lot of times on punts, even after he snapped the ball, he was one of the first guys down the field. And he was often involved either in the tackle, making the tackle directly, or at least involved with it. So it's not just snapping the ball.
Yeah. Well, John's a little more athletic than I am. So.
Hey, man, that guy was a beast, man. He was,
John's awesome.
He was my favorite long snapper of all time. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah, but that's one of the cool things about just Raiders as a whole. Just coming over here, like I'm used to like college, like no one knows who the long snapper is, but like everyone's like, Kondo was the man. I hope you do great things. It's just awesome that like people care so much about their specialists around here.
Oh yeah. You stepped right in during the 2019 season when Andrew DePaulo was injured. Can you speak about the next man up mentality needed in the NFL and how you have seen it play out?
Yeah. So Depot getting hurt. Unfortunately, I hate that's the way that I got my job, but it's kind of just how the NFL is. But yeah, like you said, I had to come in. Depot did a great job of like taking me in, talking with me about how he approaches certain situations in game. And like you said, it's just next man up. Depot is a great snapper, and they brought him to Oakland because he was a great snapper, and I just had shoes to fill from him, and he was that was essentially one game removed from Kondo being there as well. So really just coming in, living up to the hype of Kondo and living up to the expectations of Depot when he came in. I just had to come in, do my part, keep my head down, and just do what I could to help the team win. And I really think the NFL is kind of the ultimate next man up organization, just because injuries are so prevalent, and it's not necessarily who the best team is, it's who the healthiest team is, or the guys that can come in and at least perform, because everyone in the NFL has something going on during the season. It's just a matter of being able to withstand it.
Can you describe your relationship with special team coaches and players? Is there anything particular with the special teams that Raider fans should keep an eye on this year?
Yeah, so I feel like I have a very good relationship with Coach Bisaccia and Coach Storer. They do a great job, or did a great job my rookie year, of kind of just throwing the whole book at me, a little trial by fire during practice. But I think that was ultimately great for me, and just learning what to expect in game and in the NFL, because preseason's a whole different animal than the regular season. So I feel like we've developed a very good relationship, and I can talk to them about what I need to work on, and I can be open and honest about it. They can come to me and tell me what they want to see from me. And I just think we have a very good working relationship. And then as far as things to look out for with with special teams, I just know that Daniel continues to put the ball through the uprights, and I know he's just going to keep going with that. I know he's kind of got a little extra drive in him right now, and AJ's really starting to come into his own and hit some of those different, or how do I put it, kind of some of those different balls. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the video of I think Sam Cook did one, and Johnny Hecker, of hitting knuckleballs and just balls that fly differently through the air, and they really make the returners think about it while they're back there catching it. And it's just a bunch of different clubs that he's got in his bag, and he's just building confidence and getting better as he goes through that.
Carlson is definitely a kicker that I'm very comfortable with, lining up and kicking those 54-yarders like they're nothing. That's very awesome. Important. Special teams is very important to the overall success of a team. So it's nice to see you three really starting to come together. And like I said, the Raiders, you're talking about continuity. The Raiders showing that they are focusing on continuity, bringing you back, and, Carlson, and keeping everybody together, keeping the gang together, letting that chemistry build, and, giving y'all a chance to fulfill or fill those shoes that y'all have to with all the Raider legends that played special teams.
Yeah, one of the biggest thing about being a specialist is having that consistency. And like you said, them being around that long really speaks highly of how consistent Leckler, Seabass, and Kondo were all together. And hopefully we just get to stick around long enough to show that we can do it too.
Now, Trent, let's change gears a little bit now. We're still in the middle of COVID-19. We're battling all those protocols and everything else. Now, what's been some of the biggest training challenges or roadblocks that you've experienced, especially during the pandemic?
The biggest thing was finding a way to get into a gym and stay in shape last off season. Just with the lockdown, knowing that we're still going to have the football season, and just trying to not let it kind of hurt everything that we've been working towards and everything. That was the biggest thing during the off season. Regular season, there's just so much limited contact, and it made that camaraderie that Coach Gruden's was really pushing on kind of difficult, because we had to limit number of people we had in rooms, had to really space each other out. So we didn't get as much of that face-to-face contact that usually you build relationships on. So that was, but I think we did a great job of finding a way around that. We did video calls with guys and just kind of forced conversation to happen, but yeah, it was just awesome to see ways that we worked around it. And I mean, obviously the practice protocols of just trying to keep everyone spaced out as much as possible, and just practice isn't exactly what it was. And I think NFL players are such creatures of habit. Those protocols really get in the way of those habits, really just staying on track. But we got to improvise, adapt, and overcome. So it's been a fun process.
Yeah, I just can't imagine everything that not just the Raiders, but every NFL team has had to go through, because football itself is just such an interactive, knocking your head against the other guy's head type of activity. All of a sudden you remove all that and things are reduced to video meetings and walkthroughs on your own. I mean, I just can't imagine the transitions.
We had some walkthroughs where we had to go out and do the old, okay, everyone put your arms out, make sure you're not touching each other, and we're just going to pretend we're, yeah, exactly. You're doing walkthroughs and trying to walk through protections and stuff. It's okay, no one touch anyone, keep this much space, and then we'll just pretend that we're closer to each other. It's just so, yeah.
You didn't have to do any hand shucks against palm trees or anything like that, did you?
No, palm trees are doing just fine out here. Yeah, at least for me.
Last year definitely had to be the most bizarre year of your career.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, between the team moving, between no fans in stadiums, all the protocols, all the, okay, well, practice schedule's been adjusted because like we had like these guys have to sit out because of close contact. So we can't really do this practice because we don't have enough bodies for it. And just everything was just fly by the seat. It felt like kind of fly by the seat of your pants and just be as ready as we can. But yeah, just knowing that literally any day, like you could lose a player just based, even if they didn't get sick, just based off them being close to someone else that was sick. So it was just definitely a stressful time, and hopefully moving forward, we're better about it and just know exactly what to expect this year coming up.
What was it like playing without any fans in the stadium?
It was a weird adjustment, especially for the first few games. It kind of felt like for the first like couple drives of that Carolina game, it kind of just felt like a scrimmage. It was just like, okay, took a few drives until it was like, okay, really got to kind of try to dial this in right now and just realize that there's all this intensity. Like there's guys on the sideline trying to like get everyone amped up, and really like usually you can just feed off the crowd, and there's no crowd to do it. So yeah, it's just a huge adjustment. Like you could hear all the checks being called out on the field. You could hear coaches yelling over on the other sideline, and just, well, I mean, we got used to it, but then when we got, I think when we went to Kansas City in like week 5, there were actually fans there, and it was just like, oh crap, it's loud. I forgot what this is like. So it'll be nice to hopefully have some fans again this year and get back to normal.
It'll be interesting to see what new audible calls we have this year. Last year we got used to things like Cindy Gruden and Tiger Woods. So
right.
Be interesting to see what new calls we have this year.
Yeah.
Listen, speaking of Raider Nation, because that's what we're all about. We're all about Raider Nation. Can you describe what it's been like for you to be a Raider and how you've been received so far since coming to Vegas?
Honestly, being part of the Raiders has just been an incredible experience, and I'm incredibly blessed to have been a part of it. Little secret, I actually grew up a Denver fan. Please don't hold it against me. I grew up in Colorado, so we all make mistakes when we're young. But
we'll let that slide.
Yeah, so when I came in, like the first couple of weeks with the Raiders, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm like excited to be here, but it just like felt weird. But walking around the halls, like seeing all the pictures of all the greats for the Raiders, and you really don't realize how many great players have been here unless you're like around it. And like Coach Gruden and his staff, they've been awesome to play for. And just everyone on the team, like I couldn't ask for a better situation, honestly. And moving to Vegas, I feel like Vegas has been very receptive of us as a team. Like just, I think last January came out here for like the official naming of the Las Vegas Raiders, and driving around town, there's Raiders decals all over cars, and like people have those little flags and sticking out their car windows driving around. And so I think the city of Las Vegas is excited to have a pro football team here, and it's not going to be a replacement for Oakland, but I think overall we've been very well received. All
right. Great stuff. And again, the nation does travel. It's worldwide, not just nationwide, but worldwide.
That's the other thing that's been insane to me is like when we go over and play in London, those crowds are like sold out. There's Raiders fans everywhere. Like no matter where we play, there's a ton of Raiders fans. And that was one thing I didn't really see, like growing up in the Denver area. Like I had no idea Raiders fans traveled like that.
And I've heard several podcasts where people call in from Ireland and Scotland and Germany and all of the
Mexico.
I have a stream where
Canada.
I have a Twitch stream where I have had some people tune in from the UK. I think I had someone from Croatia and like Costa Rica, like just crazy. It's awesome.
We have one guy that listens all the time from Scotland.
Wow.
It is nationwide and worldwide.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, he's a huge fan. And we love being worldwide.
Trent, what kinds of things have you been working on when you're not on the football field? Because it's not all football. And are there any special charities or projects you're working with? And how can fans follow you in all the things that you're doing?
Yeah, so this off season, my big project's been I'm looking over at because I'm still not done. I'm trying to put floors into my house myself. I figured I'd be a DIY guy for the off season, and I kind of regret it, but I'm in too deep now. But anyway, I have a Twitch stream that I mentioned already that I really like to go in there, interact with fans. We talk Raider football. We talk life. We talk video games. And it's been a really cool way to really get to know some of the fans on a personal level. And like you said, see that there's more than just the football side of things, get to share parts of my life and things that are important to me. Recently I have gotten involved with I've been involved with the ALS Association. That's been my cause, my cleats for the last 3 years. My grandfather died of Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS, and it's just kind of something that's very near and dear to me. So they're kind of one of the places that I've really been representing. And another organization that I personally have gotten involved with in the last month or two is called the Fletcher Foundation. And what they do is they help provide both financial and emotional / social support to families that have recently suffered miscarriages or stillbirths. My wife and I went through a miscarriage during the season. So that's another thing that is kind of near and dear to us. And we were looking at trying to find a way to help people out because we didn't really realize how hospital bills just keep piling in. And that's just something that we thought we could really try to give back on, and something that we feel like could be very beneficial to people that are already struggling a lot emotionally. So if anyone out there has any issues with that, or knows someone who may need help or wants to try to contribute, check out the Fletcher Foundation.
Well, thanks so much. And before we let you go, of course, if you have any of your buddies, AJ or Daniel, anybody that you could throw our way, we would love to get them on the podcast as well. Make sure that they listen to this episode with you. But I'm going to ask you a question. We have a segment we do here on the show called Homer Did You Know, where I throw a question out at the panel and the guests and the audience to see if they can answer it. So I'm not going to give you multiple choice. I'm just going to ask it right out.
Oh, not even multiple choice.
No. This involves your Colorado State.
Come on,
man.
T3, help them out.
So can you tell me who the last Raider was before you, who was a Colorado State?
Oh.
I'll give you a hint. 2016.
Oh, I was thinking way further back. Corey James.
Yeah, there you go. Linebacker Corey James.
Yeah. I played a year or two with Corey at CSU. Yeah, I kind of forgot. I'm glad you gave me the 2016. I was thinking back a little further.
I knew you had. I figured, well, I'll just kind of throw a little hint out there. Yeah, so Corey James was a 6th-round draft pick for the Raiders in 2016 and spent the 16 and 17 seasons with the Raiders. He's now up in Canada. So he's still playing. He's with the Canadian Football League. So good job. You picked that up. You got it right off the bat.
Batting 1,000.
Thanks for the yeah.
There we go.
Can't get them all right if you don't get that first one. So
You did a great job. I struggle with those. I hardly ever get them right.
Oh, I was just going to say, if anyone wants to kind of follow me on Instagram and on Twitter, it's TSIG58 or TSIEG. I know the spelling gets weird. And then if anyone wants to come interact with me on Twitch, I'm usually live a couple times a week on there. And that's just TSIEG1447. So
SIG as in big.
yes, exactly.
Hey, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
I just totally dated myself, didn't I?
You'll always be younger than me.
All right, Trent, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been great having you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I had a good time.
All right, Trent, thanks again for coming on the show. We are so glad that you took the time out to meet with us.
Yeah, I'm excited about this interview. Shout out to Amanda Bustos, a.k.a. Black Widow. She's the one that gave me the tip about Trent Sieg coming on the channel. So again, thank you for all your help, Amanda, when it comes to my fundraisers, when it comes to representing the Raiders, and for bringing players, my way. I appreciate that.
And this is what Raider Nation is all about.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we'll be hearing from Amanda herself sometime soon.
Yes, she has agreed to come on the podcast. So let's go ahead and try to get her on next week.
Sounds good to me. KT3, how about another rendition of Heidi's High Five?
And now it's time for another Heidi's High Five.
All right, here is this week's version of Heidi's High Five. Number 1, interesting piece in The Athletic from Tashawn Reed about John Gruden making trades involving draft picks since returning to the Raiders in 2018. Suffice it to say that Gruden has made 28 moves so far, with 15 of those coming before the draft and 13 while the draft was already underway. So let's see what 2021 brings. Number 2, this is Gruden's 4th draft with the Raiders since returning. In his first stint with the Raiders, his first-round selection was strong safety Derek Gibson, with wide receiver Reggie Wayne, tight end Todd Heap, and certain future Hall of Famer Drew Brees all still on the board. Now, I know that Al was probably still making the picks, but you just got to wonder. Number 3, Nevin Lawson, the gift that just keeps on giving. No sooner did the Raiders re-sign him than we learned that he was going to be missing the beginning of the season yet again. Look, I don't make it a point to wish ill will on anybody, but enough already. Nevin Lawson has got to go. Number 4, we'll continue talking about players in the draft, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the list of the top 200 players, make my picks, and I'll send them to both Heidi and Homer in real time. Write down Gruden's picks, the only ones that matter, and then list who the top player was on the board at the time. It'll certainly make for an interesting discussion and comparison as the season progresses. And number 5, sad note, the Raiders family mourns the passing of Gerald Irons, who played for 6 seasons with the Silver and Black after being drafted by the Raiders in 1970 out of Maryland Eastern Shore, the school that also produced Hall of Famer Art Shell. Irons was 73 and passed away after a long battle with Parkinson's. He will be missed by the Raider Nation, and our prayers go out to the family. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is this week's version of Heidi's High Five.
You know, I'd like to wish my condolences to the Irons family. I know his son played for us as well, so, you know, once a Raider, always a Raider, and may he Raider in peace. Now, when it comes to John Gruden in the draft, yes, that first time around, that was Al Davis picking. I believe, though, that John Gruden is making good decisions right now. I know that not everybody agrees with me, but look, we're starting to build that core group of players that we've been clamoring for, and these players are our draft picks. You know what I mean? We just talked about Colton Miller being re-signed. Trent Sieg is being re-signed. I mean, these are guys that we have playing on our team and we want back. So that goes to show that this coaching staff knows what they want and they are starting to get what they want piece by piece. I believe that Mayock and Gruden will be turning this team around. Now, I know it's hard to be patient because, man, we've been losing for so long. But, man, I swear, and I'm still going to stand by this, this is the best plan that I've seen the Raiders have since Al Davis back in the day with Gruden and how they put that team together.
Well, it might be the first time the Raiders have had much of a plan, period. We've just kind of been stumbling along.
I agree with that.
Well, let's just say, since, the 80s, right? Since Tom Flores left, you could say we had a plan when we got our shell back, but that only last 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean? But yes, after that, losing John Gruden for the first time, that is when I thought that the plan was really just, get whoever we can, whatever big name we can to come in here and try to win one more championship. But since then, though, definitely this has been the best plan that the Raiders have put together as an organization.
Yeah, we just kind of floundered around for, 15 years after that.
Yeah, it was rough.
And I agree. Nevin Lawson, get out of here. Tired of you. And give us a call at 904-701-8667. Leave a voicemail or text message at that number, or send in a message via social media, and we'll share your thoughts. And now it's time to find out what Homer does or doesn't know.
Hey Homer, did you know?
All right, Homer, here's your chance. It's another edition of Hey Homer, Did You Know? In this segment, I'm going to ask Homer and Heidi and the rest of our listening audience a Raiders-related question with 3 possible answers to choose from. It's multiple choice, so just give it your best guess. So here goes. Here's this week's question. In 1998, John Gruden's first year as head coach, first stint, the Raiders put up 3,534 passing yards and 21 touchdowns on 282 completions and 519 attempts. That was a 54% completion rate. Not great. Who led the Raiders that year in attempts, completions, and touchdowns? Was it A, Jeff George, B, Donald Hollis, or C, Wade Wilson?
I'm not going to let you trick me this time, Heidi, with you highlighting the wrong answer. I know that this is Jeff George. Jeff George, I was a huge fan of Jeff George. I know he was rowdy, but when he took that victory lap in Atlanta, I mean, come on, that's Raider right there. That guy was a gunslinger, man. Now, of course, he wasn't going to work with John Gruden, but, man, I was a huge fan of Jeff George.
Heidi, what's your guess?
I'm just going to point out, I don't highlight any answer. I'm just scrolling down the spreadsheet and happen to stop on certain cells. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to trick you.
So what's your guess, Heidi?
It's so obvious. I almost think it has to be someone other than Jeff George, but I'm going to go with Jeff George.
The answer is B, Donald Hollis.
Oh, come on.
See, I was right.
He was the leader. He was the leader for that year. He started 6 games. He went 135 for 260 for 1,754 yards and 10 touchdowns, which led the Raiders in all categories for that year. So Donald Hollis.
I don't even remember him playing that year.
Well, no, now I remember. Yeah, Jeff George came in. Jeff George started the season and led Gruden's team to their first victory. But then, yeah, that's right. He got hurt. So, yeah, of course. Oh, my God.
The moment of clarity comes back in. Oh, yeah, I remember now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was obvious.
I was gonna answer B.
Oh, man.
No, it was just the answer was screaming Jeff George so much. I was like, it can't be Jeff George because it's so obvious.
That was Heidi's hint. I should have listened.
See, there you go.
We got to have a little bit of fun on the show, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
We always have too much fun.
There we go.
And that about does it for this week. We want to thank you for joining us on the Only Nation podcast. And we want to again thank this week's special guest, Trent Sieg. Please call us and give us your feedback on interviews, our takes, and share with us your take. We'll get you on the show. If you'd like to help support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/onlynationpodcast and throw us some love. We'd really appreciate it. You can find me, Heidi Stabbert, on social media as @Kevlar Prom Dress on Twitter and Instagram, or Heidi Stabbert on Facebook.
All right, Raider Nation, man, this was a great episode. Hearing from Trent Sieg is super exciting. Again, our first player on the current roster. So we're working hard for you, Raider Nation, and we want to hear from you on the Only Nation podcast. So give us a call at 904-701-8667. Leave us a voicemail or send us a text message to that number. You can also email us at onlynationpod@gmail.com, and you can find us both on Twitter and Instagram by going to @onlynationpod. We're also on Facebook and YouTube at the Only Nation Podcast, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you catch us on social media. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app and toss us a 5-star review if you think we're up to it. And you can find me, Raider Homer, by going to theraiderhomerchannel.buzzsprout.com. There you will find links to all of my social media accounts where I broadcast live, where I simulcast live, and you can also find the links there for my podcasts that are starting to roll out now. So be sure to follow me on all my social media accounts and create your own playlist for my podcast. I appreciate your support, Raider Nation.
Raider Homer is everywhere. And once again, I want to remind you how important it is to the growth of this show for us to get your input. So send us your name and address so we can send you some free Raiders merch. Call us, tell us what you want to know, throw us an interesting nugget that we could use on one of our upcoming episodes, and become a part of what we're doing here. Remember, this is the Only Nation, and we want you to be a part of it. So call us. 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. Call us now and join the Only Nation podcast family. You can find me on social media on Twitter at T3_sports703, on YouTube at T3 Sports Guy, and on Facebook at Tom, THOM Jones. And I want to give one final shout out to our friend Trent Sieg for coming on to the program.
Yes. And as always, we look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, everyone, go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
We are not just a nation, we are the only nation.